hard to capture, extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations, and this one's gonna be about the anime, so don't worry if you are an anime only fan. I know normally once we start getting closer towards the end of the month, a lot of the actual content that we talk about here on the channel does have a lot of spoilers. However, for this one, I'm going to stay away from major manga spoilers, so don't worry about that. However, I think that after these last few Boruto episodes, and now that we're going into the crucial arc of the Boruto anime, where the anime is adapting the Ishiki Otsutsuki revival arc, I think that we need to have a very serious conversation about Naruto and Sasuke, why they're being surpassed, what was the foreshadowing leading to them being surpassed, and how does this change the series going forward. So this is that moment where a lot of Naruto and Sasuke fans have been absolutely dreading, which is essentially how even way back in part 1, Kakashi was letting Naruto know that that next generation is coming up behind you could very well have ninja who are more powerful than me, and I happen to be a elite jonin. And even in part 2, you have the line where Kakashi says that every generation is going to surpass the one prior to it. Well, with the exception of Madara and Hashirama, where it took several generations to actually surpass them, that is mostly held up true. A great example of that would be how Itachi Uchiha at age 13 not only slaughtered the Uchiha clan, but also had power that went beyond Orochimaru, who not only on top of being one of the legendary Sannin, 3 of the strongest shinobi on the planet during their time, but also Orochimaru was a 4th Hokage candidate. Itachi neg-diffed Orochimaru. Even with a character like Obito, once Obito got some training with Madara Uchiha, Obito had power to where at the age of 13, 14 years old, Obito was giving Minato one hell of a problem. Granted, a lot of that had to do with his Kamui, but still, he was skilled enough that Minato was looking at him saying, this gotta be Madara Uchiha. So we've seen in the past how that newer generation can leapfrog at any given moment and they can get massive power buffs. However, what we're seeing with this new generation, especially with the events that you're gonna see that unfold that happened with Naruto and Sasuke in this upcoming arc, essentially the stage has been set for Boruto and Team 7 to actually take that step forward and eventually in the long game surpass Naruto and Sasuke in their peak forms of power. And I want to say this, the signs have been there very early on. If you go back to the Academy arc, once we started seeing Mitsuki and Sumire using changes in chakra nature, the people that knew the lore said, holy crap dude, wait a second, this is absolutely insane, because it takes years of training to master change in chakra nature. That's why people like Sasuke and Tamari, who have extremely strong affinities for changes in chakra nature, why they were seen as people that stood out, because you looked at them and you said, holy crap, that's advanced stuff. Even Kakashi in the first volume says Ganin should not be able to do things of this level right here. So it's also the same thing with Gar. Gar was using Earth release in the tuning exams, and you see how much of a problem Gar is. Well, when you look at this new generation of Team 7, at the age of 12 going on 13, because we're not quite at Boruto and Sarada's birthdays yet, essentially at the age of 12, Boruto has 3 changes in chakra nature, Sarada has 3 changes in chakra nature as well, Mitsuki has 2 changes in chakra nature, Mitsuki has already mastered sage transformation. And so when you look at that, and when you look at the fact that with Sarada, she's basically progressing at the same level that Sasuke was before Sasuke got the curse mark in terms of his actual progression, you're starting to see that this new generation, they're coming. They're absolutely coming. And I want to take it a step further. When you look at Boruto, the reason why this is so interesting is that this is a direct creation of what you see in this peaceful era where the older generation has time to sit down and in-depth train their children, because you're seeing how Boruto from a young age was given all the things that Naruto never had access to. Boruto has been able to get training from his mother, which we know from the light novels that Hinata took the time out to train Boruto. The same thing when it comes to Naruto. Before Naruto became Hokage, he was taking the time to train his son. Boruto also had access to training with people like Konohamaru, which I know Konohamaru is seen as an absolute joke, but at the same time, Konohamaru is still an elite Jonin in Konoha. He had time to train with not only Hanabi, but also train with Hiyashi Hyuga. So that's why you see Boruto, and he's able to use elements of the Hyuga clan's fighting style. Boruto has had access to so much to get him up to this point now. And don't get me wrong, I want to clear something up, because anytime I make this point, people make it seem like I'm shaming Boruto for being spoiled and having access to everything. I'm not throwing any shame at the character, but I am having an honest conversation with you. There are advantages that come with having so many tools thrust upon you, and I want to kind of put it in this perspective right here. If you and I are running the exact same race, but you're starting the race 40 yards ahead of me, if I'm running at the same speed as you, I'm never going to actually catch up to you. And so that's the advantage that Boruto has, is that Boruto has access to so much more training and so much more tools and so much knowledge in terms of how the ninja world is actually evolved, that by default he is going to be put on a pace where if he doesn't surpass Naruto and Sasuke, he's going to get dangerously close. And the fact that he's already more skilled than they were at that same age, that speaks volumes right there. You could actually make the argument that Boruto right now, because of all the advantages that Boruto has, is already more skilled than Naruto was up until the point where Naruto began learning Sage Mode. Again, I'm talking skill, I'm not talking raw power. In the Sasuke Shinden novel, which I covered here on the channel, Boruto has a moment to where Boruto feels bad about this and feels like he's not necessarily becoming a true shinobi, and Sasuke has to check him. And basically, I'm paraphrasing what Sasuke says, but Sasuke says that Boruto is progressing at a rate to where shinobi of the past would look at Boruto and they would feel proud. In particular, shinobi like Itachi would feel proud that Boruto's been able to take advantage of all the tools that are given to him, and that he is trying to acquire power through all this training that's being thrust upon him. To see all the progress that this newer generation has made, Sasuke basically tells him, do not feel bad about the advantages that you have. Only feel bad if you're not making the most out of those advantages that you have been blessed to actually have. And so this is something that I find interesting, simply for the fact that when you look at it, Boruto has been thrust with all this power, or at least the opportunity to gain all this power, because he has access to so much training and knowledge. And yet at the same time, that power that the older generation is handing down to Boruto, much in the same way that their senseis and their parents passed on their jutsu to them, it was done in the manner expecting that will of fire to be passed on so it can actually be used to protect the village. However, because Boruto is being used as a vessel to revive Momoshiki, Momoshiki has access to all that information that Boruto's acquired in the past, as well as all the information that Boruto's getting currently. And what's so fascinating about that is that the very same jutsu and knowledge that they passed on to Boruto, expecting Boruto to take their will of fire and actually move it forward, Momoshiki, if he does gain control of Boruto's body, is going to use that same power, and he's going to become a harbinger of death. He's going to be a destroyer of worlds. And that's so interesting right there, because it just shows you the dilemma that Boruto's in at this point. And I like the fact that the stronger Boruto becomes, the more dangerous of a problem he becomes for his actual family. That's what I love right there. That's where you see the irony in how Naruto and Sasuke acquired power and how Boruto's acquired power. I love that right there. That's actually very good narrative contrast between Naruto and Boruto, and it's one of those things to where, yes, he has a cursed power, but much like his father, can he actually break free of the chains of destiny and carve out its own path. That's another path that the Boruto franchise has as an actual theme. So I'm kind of curious to see how that kind of wraps up right there. And I do think that much as Naruto had to rely on his friends in order to help push him forward, I'm wondering if you're in a situation where Boruto, if he has to go through a moment of isolation, if those bonds that he established, if he has to reestablish those bonds in order to get himself back above water. That's where you get characters like Mitsuki and Sarada and even Kawaki, characters who are on the same team as him, characters who possess enormous skill on their own. The fact is that Boruto's growth is so exponential that it's actually overshadowing how powerful Mitsuki is. It's overshadowing how powerful Sarada is. It's overshadowing the fact that the original members of Team Konohamaru, Boruto, Sarada, Mitsuki, they all possess power that when you start looking at them in terms of their power and their skill, they clear quite a few characters. And that's actually how I want to kind of end this off to you guys. I want to kind of check your pulse. So I have two questions for you. So number one, in terms of ranking the individual members of Team 7, so Boruto, Sarada, Mitsuki, and we'll even throw Kawaki in there for fun because he's an honorary member of Team 7. The fact is that where would you put them? Would you say that they're like Sound 4 level? Would you say that they're lower Akatsuki level, mid Akatsuki level? Would you say that they're upper Akatsuki? Or are you bold enough to say that they have the power and skill that puts them on the level of war arc characters? I'm very curious to see where you would rank the individual members of Team 7, and then I want to know where you would actually rank them in terms of a collective. Where would you actually put them on that scale? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Have an awesome day, guys.